Hi, welcome back to Half of Heidi, or welcome to my channel in general if this is the first time you've dropped by. Today is a different video for me. I'm going to talk about the birth of my baby 5 months ago. The reason that's a different video for me is because my channel is 99% about weight loss and weight loss surgery. I had a vertical sleeve gastrectomy back in 2016. So why am I sharing my story? I guess a couple of things. One is in case somebody else who's had weight loss surgery is curious about does it make any difference to the birth of their child. And then the second component, I guess, is to help share another story, another version of what can happen during the birth of your child, especially when things don't go to plan. And what the after effects of that are on both me and the baby and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, not to scare any potential new mums out there, but just to show that sometimes you can plan things to the nth degree and the reality is it is just so out of your control. So I will do my best not to make this the world's longest video, and it probably will be a bit rambly because that's just sort of how I do these videos. I just sort of talk. But yeah, so my story is that I chose to have an elective cesarean for my baby. It was my first child. I have depression and anxiety, and I just felt like being in a bit more control over the circumstances of the birth would help with my anxiety. And in the lead up to the birth, that's absolutely true. It was just that unfortunately things went pear-shaped during the procedure. So really quickly, what happened in the lead up to when things started to go wrong, we got to the hospital for our admission. We waited a little bit for the admission nurses to do all of our paperwork and everything. And then we were, I was gowned up and my husband put on his scrubs, and we basically just sat in the room that we would come back to afterwards. It was a private room, and we just sat in there and just were like excited little school kids. Like, it was just so exciting because we knew, you know, in only like an hour or something we were going to meet our baby for the first time. It just didn't feel real. It was just so exciting. I think the look of terror, though, you can see on our faces in the photos that we took before we left the ward. Anyway, so then I was collected and taken down to prep for the procedure. And so they came and got me on in a wheelchair and wheeled me down to the prep area. Then I was put on a bed. I was given a really nice warm blanket, which I didn't need because when you're pregnant you're so hot anyway. You're just like, I don't need a warm blanket, but thank you, it was a very nice gesture. Then the anaesthetist was a great guy, but he really struggled to get the cannula in. He first tried on my right arm, and I've still actually got a bit of a bump there 5 months later. Must have done a bit of damage trying to get the cannula in, and a lot of bruising. Oh, it was so bruised. So he gave up on that arm, and then he managed to get a cannula in on my left arm. Then came time for the spinal. So that was actually nowhere near as bad as I was expecting. They put in a couple of injections of local anesthetic before they actually did the spinal, and honestly, yeah, it was nothing compared to how terrifyingly painful I thought it was going to be. I can barely remember it now. Like, what I can remember of it is how it wasn't painful, if that makes sense. Anyway, pretty much immediately my legs started to go warm. and then I've just lost all feeling in them and couldn't move them, and it was the weirdest sensation. Like, it was just so strange, like being told to move your leg, and you're like, I can tell my brain is sending the signals to my legs, but they are not getting those signals. Like, I was just like dead fish from below the waist. Anyway, so then went into the operating theatre. I got transferred onto another bed. From memory, I think, I can't really remember why the bed got put on an angle. Yeah, I don't remember. Some of it's a real blur as to what actually happened, but I feel like I was strapped in and then tilted at a certain angle for some reason, and I can't remember why. But anyway, I think it was just maybe so I'd be a bit more comfortable, because lying flat on your back when you're pregnant is not fun. Bubba's pushing down on arteries and things like that. Anyway, so then, you know, the curtain went up and my belly was rubbed down with alcohol or whatever the hell it is. And then, yeah, my obstetrician was like, okay, let's do this. Bit of tugging and pulling and that kind of stuff, and my husband trying to decide whether he wanted to look over the curtain or not, and just very exciting. And then just seriously, it felt like without much warning, suddenly there was this baby being held up over the curtain, and it was the most surreal thing. Just to see this baby that honestly looked like a little old man troll. She's beautiful now, but I swear when she was first born, with her smooshed up, angry little face, and covered in gunk, and yeah, it was just like, is that really my baby? Like, and that was the other thing. It was more like an alien. It was like, that cannot be my baby. That cannot be what was inside of me. But anyway, it was. We had music playing in the operating theatre, and my obstetrician just delayed cutting the cord just a little bit, not much time, and in that time of delaying, he was holding our baby and getting her to do this little jig along to the music, and it was very, very cute. And when he did cut the cord, and then he held her up and turned her around to show us, yes, she definitely was a girl, and she did a wee, and it was just preciously, pricelessly funny. And then they took her off to the side to do all the newborn tests, clean her up a little bit and things like that before they brought her back over to me. And then we did skin to skin, so they put her on my chest. And as I was looking at her, I just suddenly felt woozy is the best way that I could describe it. I just suddenly felt really tired, out of it. At first I felt drunk, and then I felt like she weighed 10 kilos, and then she was just on my chest, and I was having trouble breathing almost, because she just felt so heavy. And I just said, oh, something's wrong, I feel really woozy. And then she was taken off me and given to Matt. I don't remember much of what happened, but I found out later what happened was I had a bleed from my uterus, just where the incision was, and I lost 2 litres of blood. And I think the human body has only 5 litres of blood to begin with, so losing 2 litres of blood was pretty significant. And what it meant was my blood pressure just absolutely tanked, and explained why I just felt like so out of it and so woozy. And I'm not sure if I did pass out, because there's a whole chunk of time I don't really remember what was happening. So later my anaesthetist told me that he gave me 2 litres of fluids really rapidly to get my blood pressure back up. I didn't see my baby again until all of this was over. But yeah, so they did that. The obstetrician fully took my uterus out of my abdomen so that he could fully visualize it and make sure that he had isolated the bleed, and that there wasn't any other sinister things going on. And then, yeah, just bearing in mind, I didn't know that this was all happening at the time. This was hearing about it later. At the time, I was just like, man, I feel sick. Yeah. Yeah. But everyone was really calm in the room, so it wasn't scary at the time because everybody just, they had their job to do and they were just doing what they had to do. Anyway, so then I was closed back up, which meant the bleed could stop. The anaesthetist gave me some local anaesthetic injections into my abdomen to prolong my pain relief. I was wheeled into recovery where I was reunited with Matt and my bubba, and they immediately put her back on me for more skin to skin and to see if she was going to latch for breastfeeding, see if we could get some colostrum into her. I still just felt really tired. I felt like even though I hadn't had to do anything, I just felt really tired. I remember them doing tests to see when I was starting to get feeling and sensation back in my legs, and as it slowly came back, that was just again the weirdest sensation. What I do remember about then eventually getting back to the ward and being in the room was one of the nurses saying to me, so let's talk about what happened and make sure you really understand what happened. And I do remember that there was this moment when I was in the operating room and the obstetrician said to his assistant, okay, I'm going to take the uterus out now. Now I know that he took it out in terms of like, it was still connected to my body. He just removed it so that he could visualize it and he put it back in. But in my mind, I thought he meant, okay, I'm going to remove the uterus now and like surgically remove it and not put it back in. Like I thought it had been such a bad bleed that he had to give me a hysterectomy. So it was pretty traumatic, to say the least. And I got confirmation basically at that time that no, he hadn't. Actually, I didn't. It wasn't even that day. It was the next day when I got to talk to the obstetrician that I found out that no, I hadn't had a hysterectomy. So I'm probably playing down a little bit about how scared and terrified I was after the fact. It was because I remembered certain things that really scared me. Anyway, so then there was the whole conversation about the blood loss, and they didn't make it sound like it was a big deal, which to me seemed reassuring at the time, but in hindsight it didn't feel like there was much of a rush to do something about it. Like I still felt really rotten. And then when I finally got to see my obstetrician the next day, you know, he said, oh, well, we've done your blood work and your, not surprisingly, your iron levels and hemoglobin and everything is really, really low from having lost 2 litres of blood. So I'd recommend that you have a couple of blood transfusions. Which I did, and then made me incredibly thankful and grateful for all the other people in the world that have donated blood in their lifetime. But yeah, what I guess I don't understand is, sorry, this is just a really hard story to tell, and I'm not even sure I'm, 5 months down the track, I'm even ready to properly talk about it and exactly what happened and how I felt, because I've just started writing a complaint to the hospital, because for the next 6 days that I was in the hospital, I had really poor nursing care, and I don't know, everything just yeah, I don't think I'm ready to talk about it. I'm not sure I'm going to even post this video because I'm not really giving you all of the details, and I'm not talking about it in a way that makes sense. But I ended up with severe postnatal depression, and severe anxiety, and so much of that was contributed to by what happened at the hospital. And I'm not even really giving you a full picture of what happened and how I felt, and yeah, the nursing care and everything. I'm just not ready to talk about it, as it turns out. I'll post this video, I think, just as a starting point, and maybe when I'm ready, I'll re-record it. Maybe I'll get rid of this one, I don't know. Yeah, I feel like a bit of a princess right now that I'm not able to talk about it, but honestly, it was a good 6 weeks after the birth of my daughter before I could think about or talk about the hospital experience without just breaking down and crying. It was just such a shit time. So yeah, I am making a complaint to the hospital. I'm just getting it proofread and stuff from some trusted friends at the moment. Some of my friends are nurses, and I want their medical opinion on some of the things that I've commented on. Yeah, I don't know, maybe once that's all sorted out, I'll feel a bit more ready to talk about the whole experience more. I don't know. So I guess I'll leave it there. Sorry, it's not quite the video I had in mind, but maybe in the next one I'm going to have to plan out a bit better, because I can feel my mood dropping, and I don't really want to have a bad day today. So yeah. Okay, I'll leave it there. I won't cheat and do any updates on my weight loss progress in this video, in case you thought I might. I won't. I'll save that for another video. Okay, thanks everyone. See you next time. Bye.